Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Joe Knows the 2021 NFL Draft Class. Where tonight we are going to be reviewing your New Orleans Saints and their draft class this year, which I thought was pretty darn good. You guys had 6 picks, but you know what? You made them count. I really like this draft class a lot that you guys had. And before we get into that juicy content, this is the part of the episode where I explain what my emotional connection is to a certain team. I feel that way pretty much about every single team in the NFL because I love the NFL. Me, myself, I'm a Giants fan, but I'm not a guy who talks garbage. I don't talk smack. It's just not for me. I just root for my team to win and move on to the next game. And that's pretty much it. But the New Orleans Saints, I like what every single team in the NFL brings to the NFL and their fans, what they bring to the game, the excitement, the passion that they bring. And it's something that I just really love about the NFL. The New Orleans Saints, I'll tell you, I grew up in the 80s, and for a long time, that team was one of the teams that were just looking to get kicked around by most opponents. But except for the past 15 years, ever since you got Sean Payton as your head coach and Drew Brees, who, as your quarterback for the past 15 years around that time, he just retired. God bless the guy. He had a great career. He was such a great and fun quarterback to watch and appreciate. Really love that guy. And your team has been for the past 15 years, ever since you got Drew Brees and Sean Payton, that great head coach quarterback combination. You guys have been really, really, really hard to stop. I'd say pretty much any team fears going against you. Not that the Saints weren't beatable, but they were certainly very hard to beat. And you guys were always in the thick of things for a long time now. You're always making the playoffs. You guys are just really hard to beat, and I really appreciate that. You guys always played hard, and I really appreciate that team. I really appreciate your head coach. He always has that team prepared, man. You guys always look sharp. You always look good. But let's move forward here with the content. I'm recording this late at night, but I just wanted to get this one in the books, and I was really looking forward to doing it. And I want to say, New Orleans Saints, thank you for taking it easy on me. Quite a few of the reviews I've been doing over the past few days, the teams had like 11 picks, 10 picks, 9 picks, which wasn't so bad. You guys had 6 picks. It made it much easier for me. So thank you so much. You were very kind to me. But anyway, let's move forward here. First of all, Toilets to Titles. We have a new website. It's great. Check it out, please. We have our videos up there, articles that we're releasing pretty much like every other day at least, and we're going to increase the amount of articles that we release over time. But we just got started. But we've got videos, articles, tons of fantasy football content. We are both fantasy football and NFL centric. So we started off as a fantasy football channel, but now we're bringing in much more NFL content. We are diversifying, so we're going to be both going forward, and it's just going to make for great content. And I think you guys are going to like it. I work with a great bunch of like 11 or 12 other people here at Toilets to Titles, and I think we all bring the passion for the NFL. I think you'll feel it, you'll hear it, and you'll love it. Okay, moving on to where you can find the show. Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, and Facebook, where we have 2 pages. One is Toilets to Titles, and the other is called When a Family Breaks. And that's actually a page of ours that's dedicated to the trading of sports memorabilia. Check it out. It's pretty cool. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us out a lot. Hey, if you don't like the content, give us a thumbs down. That's fair. Totally cool. And you know what? Even that helps us out too. But I'd say, you know what? Be kind and give us that thumbs up. That would be greatly appreciated. And quite frankly, I think I deserve it. I'm a nice guy, and I'm working hard here for you. And last but not least, you can go to patreon.com/toilets to titles to learn how you could further support this show. Okay, let's move into the content here. The New Orleans Saints, man, you guys are always an exciting team. I thought you had an exciting draft class. I really liked it a lot. You know what? This is one of the deepest, possibly the deepest draft class in general that I can ever remember. So every team should have walked away with at least a good amount of potential. And really they did. I mean, some were top tier. I thought really accumulated a lot of talent. I'd say like the Cleveland Browns, the Carolina Panthers, and who else is out there that I've reviewed so far? And the Baltimore Ravens. I think so far those are 3 of the teams that had probably the strongest drafts. But you know what? Every other team also did well too. the Saints, you're right there as well. You had 6 picks, and I thought they had impact. I really like these guys a lot. I really do. I try to look for a theme with each team's draft class. Some teams like focused heavily on defense, like the Cowboys. Some teams may be really focused on an offensive line, like the Green Bay Packers. And that usually tells you what a team's needs were. And and that's fine. It's cool because I'm glad that these teams go in to the draft with purpose and address it, and they get what they need. And I didn't see that with the Saints. They took good players like just all over the place, offense, defense, many different positions, and that's totally cool. But I'll tell you one thing: you really made your 6 picks count, and I think this was a sneaky good draft class, loaded with future starters, uh, possibly some Pro Bowlers, and some guys who are going to be, I think, at least really good depth, or could even in a sneaky way come up and be some really good quality starters. I thought you really made your picks count. Anyway, let's move on to the first pick overall that you guys had. 28th pick of the first round, you guys took Peyton Turner, one of my favorite defensive ends in this class. Love this guy. Now, this was not a top-heavy defensive end or edge rusher class. That's okay. It was like once you got past Jalen Phillips, and even then, to be honest, I like Jalen Phillips a lot. I thought he was the best edge, the best pass rusher, or at least the best edge in this class. Once you got best past him, I think it was really kind of like the next like 5, 6, 7, 8 guys. You could take who you want. I thought they were pretty interchangeable. Just as long as the team took the guy who fit their system best. But I don't think anyone else really stuck out. That doesn't mean they're bad. They're good players. It's just that normally in most strong draft classes, you'd see like an edge rusher go like say in the top 5 or top 7 pick. Didn't see that at all. I think Phillips was the first one with Miami. I think at the 18th pick, and but after that there was a lot of good depth. So it wasn't top heavy, but there was a lot of good depth with defensive ends and edges and pass rushers in general on the outside. And you got one of the early ones, Peyton Turner. He's a good one. I love this guy. If you don't know much about him, this guy's got a motor that does not stop, and he's a big dude. Usually you'll see them more with like guys who are like 6'2", maybe kind of like 245 pounds. This guy's 6'6", 268 pounds. Check out my notes down here on him that I just put together before the episode. This guy plays hard. He hits hard. He gets to the quarterback and he plays the run well. I'm telling you, he he does a good job of chasing down running backs, but he also but even when he's not able to get them, this guy's like always pursuing them anyway. Like this guy doesn't stop. I love this guy. He's a big dude. That's not easy for big dudes to do. So he never stops chasing. He's a tackling machine. And last year in 2020, in 5 games alone, he had 10 and a half tackles for loss. That's good. That's 2 per game. And he had 5 sacks like I said, in 5 games, he had 1 sack per game and 2.5 tackles for losses, and that's just the tackles for losses. Obviously, he had just tackles, just regular tackles as well, but that's impressive. And that was just in 2020. He had the same type of numbers, similar numbers, projected over more games in 2019. But this guy got better and better every single year, and he's kind of like a monster on the field. You guys did really well with this guy, your first pick in the back end of the first round. I love this pick. You guys are building, you have a nice defensive line. You have a lot of talent there. I think you have a lot of dangerous talent. You guys are getting scary, I think, with the talent on the line that you're putting together. You Saints fans, I'm very proud of you guys. Okay, moving on to the second round, 28th pick in the second round. You got another tackling machine, Pete Werner. Uh, Otherwise known in Germany, they would call him Pete Werner, but he's inside linebacker out of Ohio State, 6'3", 236 pounds. This guy is smart. He is just a smart interior linebacker. He's smart, instinctive player with good speed, and he can cover tight ends, which is not always easy to find. This guy is actually a 3-down linebacker, and he can cover tight ends. Usually, it's the inside linebackers. A lot of times, they're the run stuffers, or they're good at helping out on the run, or you bring in a guy and you switch in another guy on third down who's good at covering the pass. You don't have to do that with Werner. Werner is a 3-down interior linebacker. You're going to like him. He's going to be a leader on that defense for a very long time. He's a nice, steady player is how I would describe him. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a Pro Bowl or two. I wouldn't expect him to be like a perennial Pro Bowler, but I think he's going to be a really solid interior linebacker in this league for the Saints for like the next 10 to 12 years. This guy's good. I like him a lot. And to be honest, with you, I'm not always that crazy about Ohio State talent. I don't think they necessarily translate that well as they should to the NFL, given how many top end products they actually produce. And yes, of course, you have your absolute studs out there like Chase Young, Zeke on Dallas. But for the amount of, for how good this program is in college, I would expect like more players like that. And so, but I think Werner is going to be a real solid stud for your team. I do. So what I was just saying about Ohio State, I mean that about the program in general, but not about Werner. I think this guy's going to be really solid. I thought you did very well with your second round pick. He was averaging 6.3 tackles per game in 2020. Really nice. And he actually did that pretty much his in 2019 as well. This guy's good. He's solid. He did really well here. I like him a lot. Moving on to your third round pick, Paulson Adebo, cornerback out of Stanford. 12th pick overall in the third round. I thought you got a steal in the third round with this guy. I think this guy was at least, well, not at least, but he was a second round pick. If he had gone in the middle of the second round or maybe even high end the early part of the second round, I wouldn't have batted an eye. I think he's that good. I think you've got a future cornerback number one here. Certainly, at least at the very worst, I think a top quality cornerback number two. But I think this guy's got potential to be a cornerback number one. Not necessarily elite, but still a good, solid cornerback number one, where you could do a lot worse than this guy. Just give him some time. Again, like I mentioned in my other videos, give cornerbacks time. It's hard for them to transition to the NFL immediately. It takes them some time. Let this guy, simmer in the cooking pot a little bit. Give him a little salt and pepper. Give him some time to cook properly. And I think this guy's going to be a real keeper for you guys. So he's known as a zone guy, but he's got height, length, build, speed, and those are intangible traits that with the right coaching, this guy could wind up being a press man. And myself, I prefer press man coverage. I like guys who can stick with the receiver. I think that usually that makes it harder for the quarterback to get the ball out, to find those open receivers. And that means that your edge rushers, your pass rushers get a little more time to get to the quarterback. This guy is already a ball hawk. He was a ball hawk every single year in college. He has a nose for the football. And like I say in my notes, keep an eye on this guy because I think I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years from now, if you look back and if you were thinking about doing a redraft, like how you would take the guys again if you were going to redraft, I wouldn't be surprised if Paulson and Debo, you look back and you'd be like, hey, this guy could have went back into the first round. I think he's that good. I think he's got already a ton of talent and he's got even more potential. So just give him a little time. I think you guys, your first three picks, I think you got these guys are going to be starters, really solid starters, and borderline Pro Bowlers for you. I really do. Okay, fourth round, really interesting. Ian Brook, quarterback out of Notre Dame, 28th pick overall in the fourth round. I like this guy. This is a guy who actually I didn't really understand why. I really don't understand why he wasn't getting more favorable press. Like his name wasn't coming up more for like those second tier quarterbacks. I guess he'd be considered more of like a third tier quarterback. I like this guy a lot. The only thing that's been a question of him really is his, well, two things. I guess it's like arm strength and his accuracy somewhat, but man, I mean, I think his accuracy was actually pretty good in college. I think it was good. And in this whole arm strength thing, I think that tends to get blown out of proportion. There have been plenty of quarterbacks where experts on ESPN or whatever network are questioning someone's arm strength, and then you actually see them in a game, and their arm strength is not a problem. I mean, maybe they can't throw the ball like Mahomes, like 80 yards down the field on a full run on a full sprint, but usually these guys, when they're throwing from the pocket, their arm strength is just fine, at least strong enough. And that's how I feel about Brook. Like the knock against him has been arm strength. And listen, I read up a lot on players. I watch some film. I'm not pretending to be an expert, but I do feel I'm definitely much more knowledgeable than most people when it comes to college players, especially going into the draft. I read up a lot on these players, and I watch some video too. And I've seen I've seen video on Ian Brook, and I don't think he has a weak arm. I don't. You know who I think actually has a weak arm? And I think it's gotten better, but I remember 2 years ago, Kyle Trask, I thought his arm was weak, like a noodle. And you see this guy throw a 20-yard pass, and it felt like it took 2 hours to get into a receiver's hands. His arm was stronger in 20, Kyle Trask, and he had a fantastic season. But that was an arm that, in my mind, stuck out to me as like a noodle arm, just like a weak arm. I don't see Ian Brook that way at all. And he's got some nice intangibles. The guy's pocket presence. He's not waiting there. He's not sitting there waiting to get sacked, but he's not paranoid either. He can feel the pressure coming, and then he's quick. He's a fast runner, and he's a good athlete. He's able to buy himself more time. He put up big time numbers at Notre Dame, and and like I said, he's regarded as having to improve his accuracy. I don't know. I think his accuracy is fine. Of course, it can improve, but this is also the winningest quarterback in Notre Dame history. That's impressive. I mean, Notre Dame's had a storied football program for like 100 years. That's really impressive. And he had last year in 2020, he had 266 passes in between interceptions. I don't know, man. I think that's good. And for fourth round pick, for a guy who's going to be working with Sean Payton, who is absolutely one of the best offensive minds in the NFL of his generation and is known to be a very good quarterbacks coach in his own right. I don't know. This guy, I'm not saying he's going to be a starting quarterback for you down the road, but I like how this is mixing up. I like how this is mixing up. And I think Sean Payton drafted this guy, could have just drafted him to develop a decent backup quarterback. That's certainly possible. And that's what it's probably going to be with Ian Brook. But I don't know. I think this guy's got pretty good potential to surprise. Let me put it that way. I'll just put it that way. Now that Breeze is retired, you're looking for another quarterback. We'll see if Jameis Winston's the answer. I'm rooting for Jameis. I don't know if he's necessarily going to succeed, but he's in a good position. The Sean Payton. Um, I think Ian Brook was a pretty cool gamble in the fourth round. I'm interested to see how this guy develops. I'm really interested to see. Anyway, moving on to your next pick, Landon Young, offensive tackle out of Kentucky. You took him and this is actually okay. This is your last pick. That's right. You guys only had 6 picks. 22nd pick overall in the sixth round. This guy is 6'6", 310 pounds. Nice size for a tackle. He's known to wall. I didn't know really much about Landon Young at all. I had to study up before I did this video on this guy. So this is what some of the websites that I checked out. This is what I've accumulated, and apparently he walls off the deep pretty well, but he doesn't exactly get pushed like in the run game. Okay, but he's fairly quick. So he's an athletic big man. But I think with the right coaching, he's got a chance to become a swing tackle. Who knows? Maybe down the road he could compete for a say like right tackle. I doubt it. I wouldn't hang my hat on that. I wouldn't bet on it. But you know what? If not, maybe he can develop into being a good swing tackle, which every team needs. And here in the sixth round, if you can get a good swing tackle, a guy who could eventually grow into that position, that is awesome. And I think he's got really good intangible traits that lend themselves towards becoming a good swing tackle. So, but it's all about the development. But I thought for sixth round, I like it. And just I want to give a shout out to Kentucky. Man, every single year they've got more and more guys being drafted out of that program every single year. And it seems like every year they're getting drafted higher and higher and higher. I realize Young is a sixth round pick. I'm not talking about so much about Young, but still he was drafted. And but I've just noticed just reviewing every team's draft class this year that just more and more Kentucky players are coming out. And I like to see that because this is a program that has really been growing nicely for like the past 10 years, maybe the past 8 years, but possibly the past 10 years where they've become very noticeable and they're very competitive. They're not Alabama, they're not Ohio State, they're not LSU, but they're a notch below and they're a good, really good program. And there's more and more talent coming out of Kentucky every single year, and I like to see it. But anyway, that's the end of the review for the 2021 draft class for your New Orleans Saints. And before you go, oh, there was one more. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm supposed to be blinking this right now. Upcoming sleeper alert. Upcoming sleeper alert. I love this guy coming up. This was your last pick, right? Yeah, that's it. Woo! Kawan Baker, wide receiver out of South Alabama, 28th pick overall in the 7th round, 6'1", 215 pounds. That is nice size for a wide receiver. This guy, this is what you want to see from a small school. South Alabama, he comes from, small school. He dominated. You got this guy in the 7th round. I don't know how the hell he lasted to the 7th round. Okay. Now, I was not familiar with him, but it was when I was reviewing the names of the players that you drafted. He was one of the ones like Landon Young from Kentucky, but I had to go back and I had to go and just read up on him. I'm like, who the hell is Kawan Baker? Holy cow, the crap I read on this guy. Man, you got a real sleeper with this guy here. The potential is, it's going to be fun to see with this guy. He's got size, he's got long arms, he's explosive. That's how he creates separation. He's not a great route runner, at least not yet. He could develop into that given time, but even if not, he creates his separation through explosiveness. You give this guy one step, he's bam, he's gone. I've seen some videotape on him. He is impressive to watch. So Kawan Baker, remember the name. The guy can play inside and out, and he was used in the running game at South Alabama too, because of his explosiveness. I don't know if that's going to happen with in New Orleans, but knowing Sean Payton, I wouldn't be surprised. But the guy, yeah, he ran, as I say in my notes, he ran a 4.43 in the 40-yard dash, and he was also an excellent kick returner for South Alabama. It was a small program, so he's got a big jump to make, going to the NFL. But this guy's intangibles, holy cow, in the 7th round, I would just say just make a note on this guy. Keep your eye on him. Give him like 2 or 3 years, see how it turns out, see how he develops. But this guy, man, for 7th round pick, I love it. I love it. I think you guys got so much potential in this draft with these 6 picks. And that's really all you need. As long as you know what you're doing and you're drafting good value in those rounds, that's really all you need, honestly, because a team drafts 11 players. Not all those guys are going to make it. It's not even close to all those guys are going to make it. You get 6 really good players in each round, like the Saints did. That's what really counts. You guys did so well. Anyway, before you go, if you can, that's the end of the review. You guys did really, really well. New Orleans Saints fans, I'm happy for you. Before you go, Twitter handles from me and my colleagues here, Toilets to Titles. There's like 12 of us now. We're all bringing content, whether it's video or articles. Check us out on our website, toiletstotitles.com. Yeah, I think we bring a lot of content and we're fun and we're funny too. So, but check it out. But follow these guys on Twitter. They all deserve a follow. They're all just a great bunch of people. And also, don't forget, before we go, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps us out a lot. If you could subscribe, we'd love that even more. And hit the bell. Just give us a positive review. And if you can, if you're on Apple, give us that 5-star Apple review. And if you're not on Apple, just take 30 seconds to go over there. And if you got some time, you're sitting on the toilet or you're in the shower, you don't mind getting your phone wet, give us the 5-star Apple review. We'd greatly appreciate it. We'd love you for it. But anyway, hey, listen, it's been real. I love you guys. Coming back tomorrow morning with another video real early. I'll be recording that. I'm doing these usually early in the night or after work. So I'm trying to get 2 videos in per day right now to wrap up my 32-part series on the draft class for each team. And I think I'm really hitting my stride and it's going well. But anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with more content. Everyone, have a great night. Love you. Peace. Take care.